Okay, so let's get right into our conversation. If
Okay.
you're just tuning in, this is Miss Be Inspired Soapbox with your host, Miss Be Inspired, and you're tuned in to Be Inspired Global Facebook Live. Like and share our page. Take a second and go on over to Be Inspired Global and like and share our page. Also, I want you to take the next about 15 seconds and just go all the way down your friends list and invite all of your friends and family to tune into this broadcast tonight. We have a very, very powerful topic that we're going to be talking about: lights, cameras, and social action. With everything that's going on in the world, with the unrest, with the racism, police brutality, you name it, even with COVID-19, it is a wake up call to all of us. And many of us feel the call and the pull to take action, not just any action, but social action, where we're engaging the community and one another. So I'm excited because we have Monica McQueen here tonight with us, who is launching into her calling at a very timely moment in history. And I believe it is going to impact so many. So, Monica, let's talk about the unrest that is happening in the country. And I am sure, like you, like many, you've seen the video of George Floyd. If not the videos, you've seen footage, you've seen articles, you've seen social media posts. So, what was your general reaction to that video when seeing it?
Um, when I first saw the video, I had to pause because I said, okay, Monica, this might be very graphic, just brace yourself. Not that I hadn't seen anything similar to it, but to just the intensity of it. But when I saw it, I literally was gasping for air, and I was like every time, and I was trying to see all the into the video, because they were surrounding officers and things like that, and I was really trying to understand what was really happening. I was like, is he handcuffed? I was like, what's happening? And then when I just kept hearing him say I can't breathe, and I'm like, well, I'm talking to the video as if they can hear me, and so I'm like, well, why are you guys just standing there? Why aren't you doing something? Is help on the way? He's on the ground. Why is that necessary? In my head, I'm like, is the knee to the neck a part of the protocol? I was like, I've never seen this before. I'm not in law enforcement, so I really don't know. But I definitely when the video ended, and I saw the report and how many minutes later he passed away and blah blah blah, and then what happened prior to it, I was sad. I cried as if I knew him, and my heart broke. And then I was angry at the same time, and I was like, how many more Black men or Black persons have to die at the hands of police officers who over abuse their responsibility and duty as a police officer, and I was just in my mind, I was like, God, is this what you mean about in the last days, nations will be against nations and mothers against daughters and things like that, and I was like, I paused for a second. I was like, God, what can I do to be a part of the solution?
Yes.
We can do hashtags all day long. We can do protests. I'm for protesting. I'm not 100% for looting and rioting. I understand that people are mad and they're trying to make a statement. I just think that needs to be thought out a little better than actually destroying actual property. Okay. Enough is enough. Enough has been enough. But now it's really enough is enough.
Absolutely.
And when will we, stand up? You have the Jesse Jacksons, you have the Reverend Al Sharpton, you have Sean King and different people who have started things, who have a certain platform. But the people who are on a local level, like you and I, that are in the city, where we're engaging with each other, where we are seeing local cops, what can we do? And so I just began to pray, and God just kind of brought to my memory about an initiative he gave me years ago. And so once I saw that video of George Floyd, I said, okay, it's time.
And it is time, when you reached out to me, you told me about the program, I was like, wow, I was blown away because, as you said, it's time for the local voices to rise up because we have the influences within our communities. Those who are at the federal level or national level may not have the influence on the local levels. We can hear them, we can see them on television, but they're not necessarily boots on the ground in our communities. So I was so thrilled when you talked to me about Join the Conversation, which is a series of forums and open panel discussions that's going to be happening in your local counties and cities and states. So could you just give everyone a brief overview of this new initiative and what you're really looking for it to do for those who attend and participate?
The initiative is to bring, like you said, the local voices together, the residents, local police departments, the chief of police, people who are, what we call them to be influencers, the pastors, ministers, youth pastors or youth advocates, people who are educators. And what came to mind for this initiative was to create a safe space for a community forum for residents of the community of that particular county and or state to have an open dialogue with their local police department and people who are in position to make decisions, to hear their questions and to also give their feedback, their experiences on how they perceive their local police department to be, their experiences when they deal with the police officer. A lot of times people are becoming more afraid of the police officers instead of having like that trust and that respect for the police officers. And for me, I also realized that police officers, they're human, just like us. They're not robots. They're not these people who don't have feelings, who don't make mistakes or anything like that, or don't have families like you and I have. And so I was like, it would be awesome to hear also from the perspective of a police officer, to understand what the training is really like, to understand really what their protocols are, what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. And then also for us to learn what may be some triggers for a police officer or police officers, because every police officer has different experiences. Every police officer has different triggers. It may be someone moving too fast to reach for something, or maybe the tone of voice, maybe it's their body posture, maybe it's the attitude that, the person is giving that may trigger something inside of them from the last time that they dealt with someone similar, to where they are now in the position where, okay, well, the last time this person tried to do this to me, things went left. So I'm going to make sure that they don't go left. So I'm going to react instead of like listening. But then too, for us to be informed as citizens and residents of the community on what our actual rights are. A lot of times I hear in videos or just talking with people like, oh, well, I know my rights and they can't stop me if they don't have proof of this. And, they can't ask for my identification for this. And I don't have to do anything because blah, whatever. But truth be told, that police officer is actually in line with the law. And we have to, abide by it. But I think, again, because there's a lower level of respect for police officers, and people are mixing in the not so good police officers and the police officers who really wholeheartedly love to serve their community, and they're taking time to know their residents and things like that, and they're just mixing them all up. And so I had a conversation with the police officer at my job one night, and I was just speaking with him, just asking him how he was doing. He's a Black man, and just, he's one of the good ones, and I can't imagine what that's like on him to have to carry the weight of bad police officers. And so I asked him, I said, hey, I'm just curious. I said, as far as like protocols, was the knee to the neck for George Floyd, is that a part of training?
Yes.
Was that necessary? What are some ways or some de-escalation ways that could have taken place that could have saved his life, and I was just being a curious resident of Montgomery County, just trying to figure it out, putting the pieces together. And he was willing to be open and honest. And he was telling me, he was like, there are certain things that are supposed to happen. And technically the knee to the neck is part of the protocol, but up to a certain period of minutes. And then they're supposed to get EMTs involved and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And he was like, a lot of times people don't know like what the actual training goes into, police officers, things like that. He was telling me about his experiences about when people refuse to give him the information that he's asking for. He was like, if really people knew what their rights are, that when a police officer pulls you over, X, Y, and Z, or if a police officer gets a call to say, hey, these 2 or 3 people, we have a description of people looking like X, Y, and Z. And if they come up to you, they're not necessarily saying that you are the person. They just got a call before they approached you. And they're just trying to find out information. And it's either, hey, can I see your identification, or can you tell me where you just came from, to see if I can weed you out, or if you are really the person that we are really trying to go after. And I was like, man, I said, this is really impactful for me. And I was like, I wish there was some type of way to create this type of dialogue you and I are having, but on like a bigger platform. Right. And that's just how everything just started. And I was like, wow. And I just started asking different people that I'm connected to. And I was like, if you had the opportunity to speak to your local police department and ask them direct questions and ask and be informed about what your actual rights are, learn the best way to interact with the police officer and give feedback to better your family and your community, would you attend it? And they're like, absolutely. We don't have enough conversations. It's absolutely. Either we vote for the people we think are going to do good by us, and then that's it, and we leave everything to them, and there's nothing for us to do. Right. And I don't think that that's wholeheartedly true. And so I was like, let's just create a company forum. I was trying to think of a name, and I said, we're just going to call it a community forum for right now. Join the conversation. Yes. And the title is just going to come. But I said, let me start where I live. And I live in Montgomery County. And I want it to go around the DMV area and off to other states, because I feel like these conversations need to be had. And so I'm excited. So what I did is I reached out, I did some research. I found the email address for the Chief of Police, Marcus Jones of the Montgomery County Police Department, and other Chief of Police in the area. And once I got the format in my head, what I wanted the structure to be, I just typed it in the email, just shared my heart, and I sent it and I prayed about it. And I think it was maybe like a day or 2 later, I got a personal response from him saying that he would love to join me and partner with this initiative, and he would send my information to the director of community engagements. And from there, we just connected and started putting all the pieces together. And I reached out to a group of people. Sean King started the Grassroots Law Project, where like different people from around the world like come and volunteer on different things. And so I just put it out there for the group that I was in, and I got some good responses from people that are like, whatever you need, I'm here to help. So we all came together and we just kind of we brainstormed, and we're like, how can this work? How does this make sense? And I just started reaching out to different people, and I was like, okay, this is going to be bigger than what I thought that it's going to be with just me doing it. And I know I'm going to need a team. And so I am happy to have the people who are a part of it, such as yourself, and really just get the local community leaders involved in the conversation, because my heart's purpose with the community forum is to educate and inform the residents that are living in the particular counties that we will go to, and also hope that those that are on the police leadership team will take in the feedback, that they will take in our questions, and they will really answer them with honesty. They will be transparent. They will give their perspective on, the different topics or questions that come in, so that it's not just like one-sided. It's not where people are coming in and saying, I don't like this, and you guys aren't good at this, and blah, 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 blah.
No. It has to be a respectful environment so that ideas can be exchanged respectfully.
And it's just not going to be a one-time thing.
Yeah.
We can't erase things that have been taking place for years to just happen in one conversation.
Absolutely.
But I feel the conversation needs to start. And I definitely see this happening on a reoccurring basis, whether it's monthly or once a quarter. And we come back and say, hey, the last time we spoke, these questions were asked, or, this was the feedback, what has been implemented? What are some resources that, you all can provide to us? I didn't know there was an NAACP Montgomery County branch.
Wow.
I know there's a corporate level. I knew there was one in DC, but I didn't know there were all these different branches for the NAACP for people to provide. They have scholarships, they have workshops, they have different outlines on how to best, deal with police brutality and things like that. And that's vital. That's information that can be shared in our churches, that can be shared in our schools, that can be shared with our families. It's more than just, make sure both of your hands are on the steering wheel and you're very tight and you're like, okay, can I move my hand? And, not being like, operate in decency and in order. Make sure you give the respect that's due, but don't know your rights, exercise your rights, but also give the respect that is needed.
Yeah.
To the officers and those that are in positions for things. So
what I like about this forum and this open discussion is that it's really bridging the gap between law enforcement, between community leaders. And those open discussions have to be had in a way where people feel comfortable and they feel safe sharing their opinions. They don't feel like there's going to be any type of retaliation, because a lot of times when these conversations are happening, people fear that if they speak out, if they blow the whistle, so to speak, that there'll be some type of retaliation on them because of that. So I appreciate the fact that this forum, and if you're just joining, let me level set for a second. This is Miss Be Inspired Soapbox. This is Miss Be Inspired, your host, and we're here with Monica McQueen, and we're talking about a new initiative that she is spearheading that we're calling Join the Conversation for now, until God reveals the name for this open panel discussion with law enforcement leadership, community members, community leaders, faith-based representatives. We're bringing together all of these entities for a discussion in a respectful atmosphere where people can feel comfortable exchanging information and ideas, and also educating the community on their rights so they will truly know about it. And so, as Monica was talking, she gave a wonderful overview of what these forums and these series of conversations is going to do for those who attend. And one of the things, like I said, that I thought about was the fact that it's bridging the gap between law enforcement, between community leaders and those who have an impact on our community. And so a lot of things are going to be addressed at these forums. And I am asking you personally to make sure that you follow, make sure that you pay attention to all of the posts and the advertisements that are going to be coming out about these events. The first one is going to be happening in Montgomery County this coming Monday, which is exciting. And I'm going to allow Monica in just a moment to share some more information about this first event. But I wanted to make sure that I pause and encourage you to educate yourself. Don't just assume that you know your rights. Do the research. Attend open forums like the one that Monica is spearheading and her team. And I'm excited about what she's doing. Another thing that came out to me is what I love about this forum is that we are putting in place an action plan. It's not just about protesting. While protesting is great because it is a start, it is one of those things that springboards change. But true change happens with action plans and strategic strategies being put in place for the change to happen. And so with that being said, I want to pass the ball back over to Monica so she could talk about this first event that's coming up this Monday in Montgomery County. So without further ado, Monica, take it away.
All right. So this Monday, June 22nd, 2020, at 7 p.m., we are kicking off Join the Conversation. That's what we're calling it for right now. Community forum. It will be hosted via Zoom. And I'm excited because I have a great group of panelists and people that are going to be joining in. And also you yourselves who are going to be joining in as well. And so I have a representative. Well, first, let me start. I have the Chief of Police, Marcus Jones, who is the Chief of Police of Montgomery County. He is going to be tuning in. I also have a representative from the NAACP Montgomery County branch. And I also have a gentleman who is currently serving as a U.S. Coast Guard. And he has been on board 100% since day one. You know, he is going to share his experience as a military personnel and give some feedback about his training and how it relates to some of the things that he's been seeing in the media as well. And I also have two senior pastors from a new local church in Silver Spring, from One Shot Church in Silver Spring, Maryland. And they're going to be tuning in. They've been doing some awesome work in the community, and they have been going to a local police department in their district to have similar conversations with the police officers and taking that information back to their churches and to their families and educating people in themselves. And so I wanted them to be a part of it as a faith-based representative because they are important as well in our communities. And so they'll be able to give a different type of perspective on their feedback. They'll be able to ask the questions that they need to know for their congregation, and just to kind of keep that ball rolling. And I also have a dear friend of mine, Quintaria Brunson, who is a realtor, but she also serves on multiple county boards for Montgomery County. And I know that she has a very great wide perspective on the different things that are taking place, but also for her as a community leader to come in and to speak and to engage with police officers as well. And so you will have an opportunity, hopefully, once you see the link. There's a flyer and there's also a registration form. And so since it's going to be on Zoom, you have to register. And the Zoom meeting details will be provided in the registration form. And there is a box in the registration form where you can put your questions. If you want to submit your questions in advance, that's fine as well. I will read them. If you want your questions to be anonymous, I will definitely respect your decision and your privacy and just will read the question without sharing your name. And then you'll also have an opportunity to submit your questions in Zoom. So that way we keep the conversation rolling if something like pops up in your head, from hearing what someone said. So that is the panel. And those that are going to be participating. And so I'm excited. We have a good amount of responses so far. And I'm just delighted because Miss Naomi has been gracious enough to share her gift in PR with the verbiage and the language and the press release. And so I've been sending that out, and so I'm excited to see who is going to be joining from the media. To kind of help take things to another level. So those are the details. I hope you guys tune in. And just let me say this, just because it's for Montgomery County does not mean that you cannot tune in. Right. Let me just say that. Like I said before, I started with Montgomery County because I live in Montgomery County. So I'm starting where I live. And my prayer is that it reaches to other counties. It's for everybody, so don't be shy.
Make sure y'all participate. Make sure. If it's in your county, I promise you, even if you attend in another county, you'll still get valuable information. So we are getting down to the wire. We have 1 minute left. One more time, can you tell people how they can register or join the conversation Montgomery County Forum, and then how they can reach you or you as a speaker if they want to bring you in?
All right. So once again, the Montgomery County Community Forum will be held via Zoom on next Monday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. You do have to register, and the registration form link is in the comments. And if you would like to connect with me, you can send me an email, and that email is info@monicaspeaksalive.com. You can also follow me on Facebook at Monica McQueen. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm on the gram. And it's at Monica Speaks Life.
Thank you so much, Monica. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. Do me a favor. Even if you couldn't watch the live and you're watching the replay, I still want you to share this. Start a watch party. I want you to copy the link, paste it in Instagram or wherever you need to put it. Share this video out. This is Miss Be Inspired Soapbox. I am your host, Miss Be Inspired. You're tuned in to Be Inspired Global Network right here on Facebook Live. And thank you so much for joining. Tune in next week. You just don't never know what you're going to get. I've learned in 2020 to expect the unexpected. So next week, honey, you don't know what we're going to do. But stay tuned because it's going to be a wonderful show nonetheless. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday because it's TGIW, and enjoy the rest of your week.